Welcome back to the table, friends. I am your humble host, GreyDMs, and with me, as always, is my co-host and co-conspirator, Owen.
Hi there.
You are listening to Tabletop by Night, a weekly podcast where we continue our exploration of Vampire the Masquerade. Tonight, we gather around the table to answer the question, can even the damned find a path back to the light?
I'm going to go with no.
Perfect. So we're going to talk about our completing of the 13 clans, and we're going to talk about a clan that has been brought up before, but now we're going to go into a little bit deeper dive than them. We're going to talk about the children of Salute, the Salubri.
Okay.
So you remember this was one of Owen's presentations where we heard about their fateful end. But now we're going to go into...
Maybe end.
True, we're going to touch a lot on that. Now we're going to go back into kind of like, where did this come from? And was this a great tragedy or not? So as I try to do sometimes, we have a little quote here. This is from the Book of Nod. Know you are made to be unmade. You are the white lamb, the gentle sacrifice. You are the greatest part of the bounty of Cain, and on your shoulders shall be his greatest sin. For alone among the children of Cain I have asked the one above for forgiveness, and I have been visited by the worst of the one below's demons. Those snakes which bit me in my sleeping, those foul worms who sucked my blood, I learned from them and take their blackness from the blood, the wounds from the flesh, the evil from the soul, and though I may die, you and my childer will live on. Open the eye and see the world truly, and know that what you do now goes on to heal another generation.
That sounds very Jesus-esque.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff here. So who are the Salubri?
I don't know. I thought that's what we were here to find out.
It is. Just let me get to it. In the final nights, the once mighty Salubri clan is considered barely a bloodline after the diablerie of their progenitor, Salute. Their final and the few number grant credibility to the rumors that they are only composed of 7 vampires at any time, and that those modern Salubri are fully committed to the search for Golconda, enacting a bloody ritual when they achieve that state or despair of ever doing so. They are divided into 3 branches, the healers, the warriors, and the watchers, and each of these branches has their own specific vampiric weakness.
Interesting.
So their nicknames: Salubrians, Unicorns, Soul Suckers, Cyclops, Soul Thieves, Dijals, Salute's Progeny, the Hidden Ones, and Peacemakers.
Peacemakers. Ooh.
Yeah, we can't have peacemakers.
Probably about the worst thing you could call a vampire.
Pretty much. So, because we kind of know the ending of this, in 5th edition, their disciplines basically are Auspex, Dominate, and Fortitude. Previous editions, they did have their own unique discipline. I don't go into that much. And then we'll leave their Bane and Compulsion for a little bit longer, because it's fun to go back and visit those. The history of Salute is obscure, but summarized as follows. In the first city of Enoch, the ancient Enoch embraced a young man with prophetic gifts. The seer differed from other antediluvians in his explicit disquiet with the kindred state. He focused on meditation, prayer, and other abnegation techniques, often in tandem with his mystical siblings Malkov and Set. Nothing could quell the beast for long, however. Yeah, those are 2 good siblings to hang out with.
Yeah.
Still, Salute had his duties to his kin, and he embraced a clan of healers, the Salubri. These vampires were unique among the kindred for their compassion. The Salubri were healers of kindred and kind, unable to take blood unless freely given. Sometime after the deluge, Salute gave up on the discipline techniques he had developed and sought enlightenment in the East under the tutelage of Indian gurus. He disappeared from the sight of all for centuries, only to return worn and weary, but now with a third eye and claiming a new path of enlightenment, Golconda. With this wisdom, the Salubri claimed a new role to healer, teachers of enlightenment and guides to the mastery of the beast. Seems like the thing every clan would want to have around.
I mean, yeah, unless you don't want to admit that, you have to be monster. You're a monster worth, derision, and it should be shunned.
I guess they are kind of throwing in the face of if you believe you can do no wrong, then the fact that they're walking around asking for redemption for what you did pretty much means it erupts your fellas.
Mm-hmm.
So, after Salute returned, demonic creatures arose in the east. These were vampires sired by an unknown elder and named the Bali.
Ooh.
At this time, Salute's child, Samuel, never at peace in the role of a healer, took up the sword and became the first of the Salubri warriors. Samuel led the troops of the antediluvians against the Bali, eventually defeating them at Chorizo, the luscious, delicious city of Chorizo. With the collapse of the second city, Salute wandered and taught Golconda, eventually falling into a deeper and longer torpor. Sometime after the crucifixion, Salute disappeared. Brings us to the Dark Ages. The Salubri were always rare. Salute himself entered torpor sometime around the 1st century and only rarely resurfaced. Each cast was focused on its particular purpose, hunting down demons or teaching Golconda, and given that the Salubri on a whole were not fond of being vampires, they did not embrace many children. Those that were usually exceptional in some fashion. All of this changed in 1133 when the mage Tremere found and diablerized Salute.
That prick.
Gee, who would be a Tremere? Yeah,
some of us enjoy being Tremere, okay?
Tremere used to enjoy being Tremere.
I'm sure he did too.
The act, unheard of, was a desperate attempt by the new clan Tremere to acquire legitimacy by acquiring an antediluvian of their own, but it nearly backfired. The Tremere, by committing the ultimate crime on the closest thing the damned had to a saint, only cemented their reputation as usurpers. The Tremere responded with a vicious propaganda campaign and cheap magic.
Mm-hmm.
The Salubri were never entirely trusted anyway, the price of being too nice.
Yep.
And now with the Tremere offering real magical power and less pangs of conscience, certain clans were all too willing to believe that maybe the whole soul-sucking thing was a bit more true than they originally thought.
It's propaganda for you.
That is some efficient propaganda. No. Wasn't a saint. Wasn't a saint at all.
No.
Evil. Soul-sucking evil. We saved you?
It was all just a farce. We were the only ones that realized this. We took care of it. Don't look in our closet.
In less than a century, the Salubri were no longer the rare and precious unicorns, but now feared, soul-devouring horrors. An amazing feat, the Tremere campaign, as if another hand was behind it.
Carl Rove.
People wish they got that kind of outreach. The Tremere coupled propaganda with terror. Tremere himself went into torpor shortly after drinking Salute, and the Council of Seven needed to boost their own power, preferably by diablerizing Salubra Methuselah. Jeez.
That's all, folks.
A conclave of the clan in 1291 in Acre was held, during which the Salubri debated on how to react to the situation. The healers renounced violence as contrary to Salute's teachings, while the warriors, disagreeing with them, split and instead waged one-man wars against their numerous enemies that more often than not led to nothing but their own destruction. This continued throughout the 12th century, ending with the capture and diablerie of Morker by Etrius. Morker's death meant the death of the last of the Salubri elders. The clan slowly withered on the vine. But there's more. The Victorian Age. During these times, the clan was thought to be dead and gone, but at the end of a period, their numbers seemed to be increasing due to the fact that some of the Salubri became anti-tribu and joined the Sabbat in order to destroy the Bali and the Tremere to get revenge for their acts against the clan.
Doesn't sound very saintly.
No. The remaining pure Salubri found that the spirit of the age allowed them to find allies among the kine who searched for spiritual answers and were willing to overlook their peculiarities. The development of new technologies, such as the telegraph, also allowed the remaining Salubri to coordinate their unlives in more efficient ways, exchanging knowledge and informing them about new developments.
How would you like to be that telegraph operator? It's like, reached Golconda, stop. Don't need to drink blood anymore, stop. Diablerie, bad, stop.
Guy down the road looks strange at me. Think he's hungry, stop. Gonna say goodbye, stop.
Third eye says shit's coming, stop.
In the 20th century, the Salubri have all but died out, with only 7 rumored to be active, as well as a few hidden ones, such as Matiel, though this rumor is also believed to be by some to have been started by the Salubri themselves in order to hide their true number, whether they be lower or higher than the rumored 7. The main clan is now exceeded by bloodlines, including the Nkulu Zhao of Africa and the Wu Zhao of Asia. The Salubri, if they're known at all, are reviled for their strange and frightening soul-devouring powers. And then something even stranger and more frightening happens. Salubri Antitribu, the Sabbat, accepts into its rank the childer of Adonai. These warriors are consumed by the need for vengeance and are creatures of rage, dubbed Furies by the Sabbat compatriots.
So the Sabbat are like, these guys are crazy.
For the Sabbat to give you the title of Fury means that's, you probably are pretty ticked off.
I'd say.
They are not honorable creatures, but rather bitter knights driven to destroy Tremere and seeking vengeance for their founder's destruction. The lot of Clan Salubri has changed little in the last century. Even among sympathetic anarchs distanced from the ivory tower and the pyramid, those who know anything about them want little to do with them. Still, many remain motivated to act as guardians and healers who would come to the aid of kindred struggling with or reveling in vampiric condition. So, what about the organization? The Salubri do not have much of an organization in the final night.
I wouldn't have thought so.
There are not enough of them to have one.
Up down the street.
When Salubri do meet, it tends to be on the instruction of their sires. The dying wish of the given Cyclops to her child might be to seek out another member of the bloodline and deliver a message or pay respects. Things were different, though, before Salute's death. At that time, the healers were a loose community of equals, largely distinguished by progress on the path to Golconda. The warriors, however, were distinguished by a ritual called the blooding, in which the ritual that a warrior was truly consecrated and took on an angelic name to indicate purpose and path. The blooding also granted special powers. However, with the effective extermination of the warrior caste, the code of Samael was lost. The Antitribu of the modern age show no knowledge.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. The Furies are like, I'm so angry that holy vengeance ignites my gun.
What's your angelic name? Michael. My father before me was Michael. And my brother, Michael.
Culture. Again, there are not enough of them to have a culture.
I mean, it could be argued that is a culture.
Yeah, true. Yeah. What little there is has been mostly focused around Golconda lore. Salubri believe that vampiric essence is torment from which Golconda or death is the only escape. Consequently, the modern Salubri would embrace, teach a child the basics of the route, leave clues for the child to follow to achieve Golconda, and then have their child diablerize them. One side effect of this is that the Salubri are all relatively low generation. Normally, Salubri start out as 8th generation by default. Even the Antitribu usually have a couple of dots in the background.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, so you Tributers start talking about that Fury coming across. Who's like, when I fall, I'm going to make a childer and he's going to eat me. And then he's going to come after you at the same power level. Yeah.
That'd be kind of crazy just to be a neonate and you wake up and you're like, I'm like 4 generations higher than everyone around me.
Starting the game at 8th generation, you're like, it's all peace.
It's all peace. Let there be peace or there will be peace.
There will be peace. So, go back. So, at that generation level, and you still have Auspex, Dominate, and Fortitude.
Yeah,
so
those are all scary.
So you're just like, oh, wow, you shot me. I don't really care. You should sleep for 100 years. Then you'll know peace afterwards. I'll leave books for you. Okay, goodbye. I'm tired.
I see you're trying to hide. That doesn't work with me.
Jeez. That's pretty cool. Embraces. Salubri generally embrace noble souls, healers, teachers, empaths, and other good people that they feel can find Golconda.
So no one we know.
Unfortunately. Beyond that, there is not much commonality. However, on occasion, a Salubri might embrace an evil person in hope of seeing them redeemed, or at least setting them on the path to redemption. Each childer of a Salubri was seen as the culmination of their unlife, so they tend to observe their targets carefully and generally only embrace when the person is willing to endure unlife. Imagine that. Wow. You're like, okay, this dude's evil, but I'm pretty sure he's about to turn his ways. So I'm going to go make him an 8th generation vampire. Nothing could go wrong ever here.
Isn't that kind of like the Christian disillusion thing? Like the evangelical Christian thing is just like the redemption of the evil man sort of thing.
Oh. The redemption of the evil man is worth more than just a good person?
Well, it's not worth more than a good person, but like you're tested, and if you can redeem yourself, like that's the true worth of your soul, or some bullshit like that.
It's kind of Cain and Abel thing, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Like Cain turned on Abel because he was just like, oh God, like he likes the vegetables.
Mm-hmm. It's also a really easy way for somebody evil to completely take advantage of them. But,
yeah. So. Maybe we'll get to that part. All right. So clan variants. Here's some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Salute was a famously prodigious sire, creating the Salubri, the Wu Zhao, who have 2 castes, and the Nikulu Zhao. However, within the clan itself, the major distinction is between the healer, warrior, and watcher class. He's also the #1 candidate for creating the Bali.
Really?
But we'll get to that someday.
How? Why?
Well, remember, he wandered away.
Yeah.
And in the Bali lore...
He was in India.
Yep. And in the Bali lore, they claim that a foreigner, pale foreigner, grabbed 3 of them, threw them in a pit, and made them fight and sup upon his blood until they basically turned into vampires.
But why would the saint of the vampires do that?
Yeah, that's my question. And that's why there's always like, it's not for sure because there's other theories, but there's a lot of evidence that he may be the one that did that.
Sure, he was emo phase.
Yeah. Well, I got to see, maybe they may have to really push that evil before they come back. So modern references to the Salubri typically refer exclusively to the healer caste, who make up the bulk of the normal bloodline. But of course, there is the warrior caste. The warrior Salubri were founded during the Bali Wars by Salut's child, Samuel. Samuel renamed himself after an angel of the Lord in a secret ceremony that is called the Blooding. Since then, every Salubri warrior that was expected to undergo the same ritual and be granted an angelic name. All warriors undergo rigorous training to prepare themselves for the Blooding, sometimes even when they are still mortal. The warriors were wanderers, always searching for evil to destroy wherever it might grow.
That looks evil.
This brought them into conflict with various clans and their unsavory members, and when the Tremere began their pogrom, the warriors had nowhere to turn and were unsure how to proceed. Many warriors died in battles against forces they deemed evil. In the final nights, the Salubri and Titribu appear to be resurfaced to Salubri warriors.
Hey, we're here to fight evil. Literally everyone related to us is evil.
You're all evil. It used to be 1 out of 13. Now it's 1/10 out of 1 out of 13. Right? Watcher caste. So the Wu Zhao, or the Watcher caste in the Dark Ages, are an Asian bloodline of the Salubri who came about during Salut's travels to the east, where he was known as Zhao Lat. He chose 2 individuals to embrace, Zhao Ze, a thief capable of obtaining the secrets of the 1,000 Hells, and Zhao Zhu, a scholar who could decipher those secrets. The 3 adventured around the Middle Kingdom, plundering the lairs of Akuma and stealing their plans. The Wu Zhao are perhaps unique among the Cainites, capable of switching between their caste of scholars and thieves. During the Dark Ages, the Watchers acted as protectors of other Cainites, protecting them against those that would deny their right to even exist and earn redemption, like Lupines or the Wan Kuei. Additionally, they sought for knowledge that will allow the Cainites to survive the cataclysm turns of the Wheel of Ages. Only rarely did they travel into the West, seeing it was more important to preserve Zhao Lat's wisdom than his descendants. Contact was only established during the invasion of the Golden Horde, during which the Watchers often masqueraded as members of other clans or castes.
So, the ninja.
Kind of. Chinese ninja, yeah. Interesting, the Wu Zhao do not share the clan weakness of other Salubri. That is because Salut's order that the Zhao Zhu and the Zhao Ze gather secret knowledge permeates the blood of every Wu Zhao. Thus, each Wu Zhao must choose an area of arcane lore that becomes the focus of her unlife. A willpower roll is required to resist pursuing an opportunity to research this subject, regardless of how dangerous this opportunity is.
So, that thing you've been researching, yeah, it's outside, but it only shows up in the sun. Shit.
The Salubri and Titribu of the Sabbat are not the quiet, contemplative kindred that seek Golconda in persecuted exile. No, these kindred call themselves Furies, and they seek the blood of Camarilla vampires, the Tremere especially, with venomous passion.
Well, I know it's going to be used against me next time Keith shows up.
They are the modern incarnation of the ancient warrior caste. A Sabbat pack is said to have discovered a torpid Adonai and the last Salubri warriors in a mine outside Prague during the 1990s, who, upon awakening, gave rise to these Antitribu. The Salubri Antitribu are devoted to the cause of killing Camarilla vampires, but not necessarily to other Sabbat agendas. So yeah, I mean, you're talking...
It's like we're here for the killing and nothing else.
Specifically the Camarilla death, too. They take part in the rite of the sect, and they share their blood, but what truly fires them up is the chance to invade Camarilla territory and burn some Tremere. If the ancient rumors of the Salubri warriors being honorable knights are true, then times have indeed changed. These kindred do not know honorable combat from IED. Cute. They just want to watch their enemies crumble to dust. It is possible that these are the remnants of the two of Ariel's line, and the followers who renounced their names and took infernal ones during the Diablerie of Salute, as Andani would suggest. The Furies clan weakness is slightly different than from the main Salubri. They receive nourishment from blood taken either by force or during a frenzy.
It's like literally they have to make a mess to do anything.
Yeah, pretty much. So, let's say you wanted to play a Salubri.
How difficult would that be?
Let's talk about their bane.
Yes.
Their bane is hunted. A Salubri's bane is that the kindred of other clans are especially appreciative of the Salubri vitae. When a non-Salubri partakes of the blood of a Cyclops, they often find it difficult to pull themselves away. Consuming enough to abate at least one hunger level requires a hunger frenzy test.
Oof.
If the test fails, they just keep consuming to the point that they may have to be physically fought off. Additionally, the third eye that the Salute opened while on one of his many journeys passes down through the bloodline every time a Salubri embraces. This third eye is not always recognizable, human in origin, and rumors possessed of vertical, serpentine pupils or even worm-like eye spots.
Ugh.
While the third eye can be physically covered, such as with a headscarf or hood, it is always present and no supernatural power can obscure it. Any time a Salubri activates a discipline power, the third eye weeps vitae, its intensity correlating to the level of the discipline being used, from welling up to a torrential flow. The blood flow from the third eye triggers a hungry frenzy test from nearby vampires with a hunger of 4 or more.
So anytime you use your powers, people might frenzy and try to eat you.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Compulsion. Effective empathy. When a Salubri suffers a compulsion, the kindred becomes overwhelmed with empathy for the personal problem that affects someone in the scene, seeking to further its resolution. The scale of the personal problem isn't important. The Salubri understands that sometimes suffering is part of a cumulative situation and not an isolated stimulus. Any action not taken towards mitigating that personal tragedy incurs a 2 dice penalty. The compulsion persists until the sufferer's burden is eased, or a more immediate crisis supersedes it, or at the end of the scene.
So you would have the hardest time just trying not to let everybody know that you are one. Like everything in your being is just like, hey, I'm hiding because people want to eat me. But damn, everything I do makes it show that I'm somebody that people want to eat.
Oh, eat me. Yeah, hey, I'm going to use my power. Eat me. Eat me, eat me, eat me.
Hey, there's somebody who's having trouble crossing the street. It's that, or I run away from these vampires that are looking at me. I guess I gotta help them across the street.
Well, that's why the only chunk of them left. Well, but once again, like if you start to make a Salubri, you're 8th generation.
Yeah, yeah.
So like a lot of people are just gonna kind of like fail upon you.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you are 8th generation, but that doesn't initially impart any real strengths on you off the bat. Like you're still going to be relatively weak starting out. You just have the potential to grow stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's still some of the disciplines that I'm trying to remember, because they used to have like the thing where it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And
things don't work on you as easy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not like a force. A Salubri is not like a force to be reckoned with, right, unless they're a Fury. And even then, probably not. You know, I mean, like a Bruja or something that's really just like geared on to, it's going to still screw you up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, getting a lot of points of dominate or a lot of points into, fortitude, you're like halfway to being a Venture.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty frustrating that every time you try to use something, all your friends turn into like frenzied animals coming at you, and you have to use dominate on all of them to tell them to go to sleep.
Go away, yeah.
Like, damn it. Did Bob do it again? Did he use his power again? Why are we all in the desert?
Why'd you start running? You didn't tell him when to stop. No, I did not tell him when to stop.
My bad. Oh, no. Yeah, so that is the 13th clan. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, they're basically now the Tremere. They are kind of the boogeymen of the Tremere a bit, or, an ancient relic that shows up, that's interesting, but they're not really a really cohesive choice.
No, you would be very by yourself if you were to play this clan.
But they are interesting, and there's a lot of interesting stuff about, like, what exactly did Salute do on his journeys to the west, and who did he affect? Especially because, like, the Salubri waged war against the Bali when they showed up. They were the big clans to go against them. And they even warned of the Bali's infestation at Carthage. So technically, if they were still around, the Bruja probably would not like them very much.
Yeah.
But, yeah, a lot of interesting stuff about the clan of mystics, the clan of unicorns. You want to be a shiny unicorn.
Unicorns and cyclopses.
Any final thoughts?
No. I don't think I'm going to be playing one.
No, I don't think it's a good idea to play, honestly. I think it's interesting if they show up, or if people suggest somebody is one. I think, once again, it's one of those things where, like, if you have a really good established group and you've played a lot of stuff and you decide, hey, I got an idea I
just got an idea.
That could happen. But you really have to have the experience and, like, the engagement with the DM to facilitate it happening.
I still don't think I would play one, but as a modifier for another character of mine, I think it'd be really interesting.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we'll just leave you with that little tidbit. We know this is a short one, and we're kind of rounding out your initial subject matter here. So, you know what? Take the extra time and go have some fun and
go take a walk, ride a bike,
try to
touch some grass,
heal some people, and not have them eat you for it. Right. Bye, guys.
Bye.